What's going on? My name is Ethan J and welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we're going to be doing a sports graphic breakdown of the man himself, Mr. Finals MVP, the Greek Freak. This is going to be kind of like a fantasy-ish style graphic, something different. I haven't really done anything like it before, but hopefully it will all come together and make sense in the end. The main premise of the graphic is that the Bucks and Giannis have gone ahead and written themselves into the latest chapter of the NBA history books. It's a bit weird, it's a bit out there, I know, bear with me. I think it's gonna turn out alright, but with all of that said, let's jump into Photoshop and get started. Okay, so here we are in Photoshop, brand new composition. I actually have a separate document cell with all the assets in, so let's go ahead, drag that in, because we're gonna start off with the book. So I'm gonna put that here. Let's just set up some guidelines so I know where the center points are. And scale down the book slightly, like this. This will do. So I need to paint in around this area because I want it to be like smoky coming out of the book. So I'm just going to get like a darkish blue color and just kind of paint in roughly where I want this to all go. Like that. Something like this. Now we just need to make all the edges look smoky and it's less refined. So I'm just using like a smoky kind of brush just to feather out these edges like that. And on this side, cool, this is looking good. All right, now we need to kind of add some more kind of defined clouds and stuff to these edges because they look a bit too feathered, you know? So I've got this brush here that is a bit more of a defined kind of cloud. So just put this here like that. And on this side, okay, now we're in a good space. So I've got this kind of galaxy Milky Way-ish kind of background photo that I found on Pixabay actually. So I'm just going to drop that in, and what I need to do is I need to make the blues in this a bit more saturated. So I've gone ahead and made like a solid color. Just going to paint in where I want it to be a bit more saturated. I'm going to make a duplicate of this as well and set it to green because at the bottom here I want it to all be kind of greeny, tealish, you know, like the Bucks color. Gonna go grab a brighter green here now like this. This should work. Replace the mask, just paint that in here as well at the bottom like that, maybe up there. Now we also need a teal. We also need a nice teal color on the left side like this. So let's paint that in like that. Perfect. It looks a bit weird now, but we're going to polish it out. We're going to make it look a lot better. What we need to do now is add in some kind of like glowy kind of clouds as well on top of this like that. See, like this. Now it looks less pretty much. I'm gonna go ahead and experiment with this and just try a whole bunch of different things. It's gonna take a little while, so I'm just gonna pull it in a speed edit and I'm gonna jump back in when we're done. Okay, so we're looking good now. All we need to do now is add in a vignette. We're gonna add in some darky kind of cloudy edges around here, around at the top, up here, and just around to the side like this. Perfect. And we also kind of need to add these down here at the bottom as well. So I'm gonna just duplicate this layer, delete the mask, grab another smoky kind of brush and draw this in like this. That way, this is looking kind of whack. I'm gonna sort this out and make it look good. Hold on. There you go. Now we're looking good. Now we're looking better. That took longer than I thought. Now we're just adding some lime greeny, tealy kind of glows here at the bottom, just to make it look like all of these clouds are kind of coming out of the book. You know what I mean? So let's add in some glows here, some glows here, and we should be good. Wait. I didn't duplicate him. Okay, there we go. All right, now let's drop in this kind of cliffy, kind of rocky cliff image here that I want to use. So I'm going to do a quick sky select and just kind of roughly mask out the area that I need like this. Now let's scale this down. I want this to be the bottom of this little rock structure thing that's coming out of the book. So let's just position this somewhere like this will do. So let's drop in this kind of cliffside grassy picture that I found. I think this was also on Pixabay too. So I'm just gonna grab a quick selection of this like this. Doesn't need to be too neat because I can neaten it all up with the masks and stuff like that later on. Drop this in, make it fit somewhere like this. Might need to warp it a little bit or distort it like that. Like that. That works. That works. Okay, that works. Right, now we need the right side. So I'm gonna go back to the same image. I'm gonna get another selection of this little area down here. I'm just gonna place that on the right. Again, I'm not gonna be super neat. Drop that in here, like that, scale it down, and roughly kind of put it where I need it to go. Right, now let's kind of just neaten up these edges here like that. And on this one. And this is probably gonna take a while. So I'm probably gonna speed it up, and then future me will kind of narrate over the top of it. Okay, so we're just cleaning up all these edges now, going around to each side, just making sure everything looks a bit neater and not so jaggedy. Adding in some shadows here, just quickly around the edges like that, just to kind of give everything a bit more depth. Then we need to add in some highlights like that, paint down at the bottom, because we want this bottom part to be super glowy, super like lit up with all these kind of green and teal-y kind of glows and stuff like that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then I think I just kind of repositioned it, and I think we're good. There we go. Okay, we're looking good. Now I need to drag in this thing. I don't really know what to call it. It's kind of like I don't really know what to call it, but it's got kind of like Greek style pillars and stuff. We're gonna drop that in here, and I think we need to flip it because I want the light source to be coming from this right side. I applied a quick camera raw filter to this just to kind of desaturate a little bit. And now I'm applying some shadows and highlights just to make this thing stand out. Now we need to add in our deer or buck or whatever you want to call it. So let's place him in here, scale it down like that. This needs to be on top of the floaty rock thing like that. Scale it down a little bit more. And now we just need to add in some shadows just underneath like this. So I'll paint this in here, kind of roughly like that. Perfect. And now we need to get like a grass brush or something like that, like this. Painting some little grass areas just like that. I feel like Bob Ross. So I went ahead and dropped in the finals MVP trophy there at the back. Now I'm just positioning one of the main Giannis photos. Also got this photo here of him looking off to the left. Let's position that kind of like there. That works like this. Now I said there was going to be a light source on the right hand side, so let's go ahead and do that. I need a nice reddish orangey color, so I'm just going to go ahead and paint this in like this, just on this side, because what I want to have is like a sun on this right hand side here, because if you don't know, the Bucks beat the Suns in the finals. So let's go ahead, drag this sun image that I found on Adobe stock, just kind of make it look more like a sun. I'm going to go ahead and use the ellipse tool just to get a nice sharp mask of it like that. Then let's add in another glow here because we need this thing to be super glowy. Then let's also add in some darky kind of cloud bits down here at the bottom, so it kind of matches in with the dark kind of bluey clouds there as well. Just paint those in like something like this, like that. That will do. Now we need to actually edit our cutouts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a camera raw filter. I've got an action saved for camera raw, and it just applies some basic settings that I just go in and tweak after the fact. So just go in here, change a couple things around. It's going to take a while to do all of this, and it's kind of repetitive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in another speed edit and just kind of narrate loosely over the top of it on what I'm kind of doing. So once we do all that, I'll jump back in. Okay, so we do the basic stuff. We add in the camera raw, some shadows and highlights just to make everything pop and stand out and look much better. Now we're adding in some highlights and some shadows. Also adding in some color there to the side of him, some hue and saturation set to colorize, and just kind of masking in where the orange highlights would pick up. Now I just need to do the same thing on the photo on the left-hand side. So I'm going to use another hue and saturation, set to colorize, and just kind of paint in roughly where all the light would hit on the side of his face and in his hair and all that kind of stuff. And then I add some subtle glow to the brightest edges of the cutouts, just to make the highlights really, really look bright. Then we add some glows to the trophy. Then we just add in some more kind of shadows and highlights just to really up the contrast on that building in the background there. and add some shadows to the floor as well, onto the grass to really sell it. And there you go, we're in a good place. I just need to add in the third cutout, which is an action shot of Giannis dunking. Just drop that into the composition here. And I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of add in all of those editing and color correction things that I added to the background images too. Okay, now it's looking good. Next thing I need to do is maybe add some color to the side of this MVP trophy here, because it should be kind of getting affected by some of the light. There's some of the teal light on the left-hand side. So I'm gonna drop on the hue and saturation there. Just kind of paint in a little bit of where the light should be hitting. Just like that. Paint around this edge, around here, the lower rim there at the top, and perfect. Now it's looking much more like it fits into the composition itself. Now we need some more glow, so I'm just gonna draw those in down here to really emphasize how bright all of these colors are. Now to go along with the whole space kind of theme, I have these kind of asteroids, comets. They're space rocks in it. So like I'm just gonna put these in here, kind of arrange them in a nice way to make it look like they're kind of floating past Giannis in the scene. There you go. This is a good arrangement right here. Some of the top and bottom asteroids have some field blur on it as well, just to give the image some depth. I need to add in a bunch of shadows and highlights and all that kind of stuff, and coloring the same way I did to the Giannis cutouts. So I'm probably gonna skip ahead so you ain't gotta watch me do all of that, and to make sure this video ain't half an hour long. We're getting there, we're on the right track. Now I just need to add in some more details into the background. So I thought of adding these kind of like Aurora. So I put that one down there, and I have another one here that I kind of want in the top, kind of just behind this this headshot of Giannis here. Just kind of position that a little bit nicer like that. And it's good. Set it to screen, maybe lighten. Color dodge? Nah, we're gonna go with lion. Cool. So I added in some more glows behind the finals MVP trophy here. And what I want to do is add in another planet as well behind the trophy. So I got this image of Jupiter that we're gonna change around and make it look all green and alien. So let's drop that in here. Put it around about here, maybe make it a little bit smaller or something. Yeah, let's actually make it a little bit smaller like this. And now we just need to add some color. So I'm gonna get a hue and saturation again, kind of mess with the hue a little bit. I want it to be like a weirdy, greeny, alien color. Oh, teal actually looks kind of nice. So I'm gonna keep it like that. Then I'm gonna add an inner glow. This is gonna make the edges look super bright and just differentiate it to make sure it doesn't look like Jupiter, you know? Something like this works. Turn the size up a little bit. Okay, right, so I added a bunch of glows in. You know how I love my glows. And now it's looking sufficiently non-Jupiter-like. Now, in this section here, I tried to add in some 3D text. I tried really hard to add in 3D text, but it wasn't working. So I've sped it up so you can see the trial and error process that goes into designs like this. I tried to make it work, added it to the background, I made it smaller, I rearranged it, I added light into it and everything, shadows, highlights, all of that, and it just didn't look good. I don't feel like it fit into the design as well as it could, but I wanted to include it to kind of show the experimentation and just show how kind of different ideas get tried out and scrapped eventually. I ended up not going with the 3D text. I feel like it just cluttered the image, didn't make it look good. So I took that out. Now I think it looks much more clean, much more refined and honed. So I just added in my camera raw fill that I always do, added in some of my color correction and just last little light effects. You can buy those light effects on my website, by the way, ethanjdesignshop.com. If you want to get them, they're there. They're not that expensive either. I'm just saying, you can go check it out in your own time. You don't have to, it's fine. No pressure. And we're done. I really like how the final graphic turned out. I don't really venture into the fantasy-esque kind of style very often, so it was cool to kind of dabble in that area and see what I could come out with. But I hope you liked the video and the graphic. If you did, leave a like and subscribe, all of that stuff, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.